Okay, it looks like we're on. This is just going to be another very quick one again because I'm still away from home, so just wanted to touch base. There was something really weird going on overnight, so just wanted to touch on this. Like that on the Nasdaq is interesting, to say the least. I haven't looked into the news yet. I probably should have. Big volume. Last time we saw this sort of volume, it actually found a local bottom. Um, but that on the daily is strange. Um, I know the market's pumped a little bit after the PCE came out, or core inflation stuff came out, and then dropped off again. Typically, you got to watch that if you're trading during that. The, the initial move is quite often the fake move, but the fact this has actually picked back up is quite interesting. Um, I might just go down and have a quick look on the hourly time frames. I know the 15-minute on most of them actually seems to be rolling over a little bit. Um, it's not it's not super serious yet, I would say. It didn't make a new high though. This is the S&P 500 overlaid on top. Um, whereas the S&P did. So the market's really it's not in a strong trend in either direction, I would say at the moment. Just based on what I'm seeing. Nvidia looks like it's rolled over a bit. Uh, yeah, we're starting to form lower lows, lower highs on the way down. Didn't get a island reversal, like it didn't fully break to the downside, so that's interesting. But geez, we closed that gap almost to the T. Like that's that's a ridiculous gap close. Um, be good if you were day trading that. That was a good spot for a bounce. Anyway, so yeah, the SPY is kind of eking its way up still, which is interesting. Obviously, that's the ES. Equal weighted, and this was the thing. Like we were down when I first looked at this morning. Most of these were down, like the S&P 500 and Nasdaq and stuff were all down, but the equal weight was actually it didn't really drop at all today. It stayed. It was just pretty well bullish the whole day, um, which is unexpected. It shows there's a little bit more breadth out there, and money's shifting from the big guys into the other um, parts of the S&P 500 and even the Russell, I believe. So yeah, the VIX has dropped. XLY XLP has been an interesting one because it typically, if you get an upward move on the stock market, you want it to be supported by XLY and XLP. It just shows your strength of the underlying sort of consumer economy and things like that. So it's consumer versus discretionary, essentially. Something like that. Staples, yeah, staples versus discretionary. Sorry. Um, so yeah, obviously the start of this rally, it was kind of supported by that, uh, but the end of this rally hasn't been. And the little drop we were seeing the other day was while the XLY XLP was going up, so that was odd. Um, Interesting that it's dropping again now though. So this could just be a little bounce to try and shake some people out, shake out some positions, potentially like end of month. Could have been to do with the options close. I'm not sure. I haven't checked into my normal breadth of stuff that I checked today, but yeah, it's not. Even the bonds are up slightly though, which means there could be a bit more of a rally here. The bonds certainly liked the situation. Skew hasn't really crushed that much as we talked about the other day. A little bit, but it's even bouncing back up now. So um, could see some more downside on the skew, which again, this market it could be a um, sort of a down in time market. So it could be sideways. That's not what I wanted. Copper's still heading down. I haven't got my EMAs on that, but that looks like a fairly decent break of that trend line too. Yeah. Copper might get a bounce and a retest of that, but it's not looking strong, that's for sure. So again, the indicators of, in terms of overall market direction and long-term market direction are kind of wishy-washy at the moment. Not getting a huge amount either way. I'm actually just going to have a look at the monthly on NAS. So the monthly on the NAS is interesting. We blew through that as resistance that month, right? Um, the monthly's actually closed in a pretty good spot. That is suggesting a little bit of bullishness. Must admit, maybe a bit sideways in the next month or so, but yeah, you could see upwards of that sort of. You could see upwards of 19,000 in the next month, realistically. S&P again, it's fairly bullish, really, on the monthly side of it. RSP not so much so, and this is where it gets interesting. Volume's actually increasing on the RSP on the monthly. Very interesting. There's not a lot of direction here. I mean, the Dixie's dropped, so that would support the market a little bit, but again, the Dixie's probably got a fair bit to come down. If we see, there's two scenarios here that's going to play out, as far as I can tell. If we clear this 106.3 basically on the Dixie, we're going to recover this candle here. Probably at least up to the 108.5. If we don't, and at the moment it's probably looking more like a down market. If we clear this bottom here, which these are fairly big numbers, then we're going to like a fairly big percentage moves for the Dixie. So you're not expecting, we're talking the next quarter, maybe the next half of the year sort of moves, but we could be back down around the 100 within the next quarter, which would be pushing the market up. Still shitty volume though, so just going to go back to the daily on the Dixie. Yeah, look at this stage. 102 to 103 is probably a good target. I don't see much strength in this at the moment. In which case, stocks are probably going to go higher. So, yeah, I might even. I'll just quickly touch on Bitcoin. Gold's coming back down. The longs haven't started really dropping off yet on Bitcoin. So, yeah, looks like if we if we do get a further drop in Bitcoin, I'd expect the longs to be accumulating more. They're not really taking profit yet though, so nothing to really write home about there. And then if we go to Bitcoin, basically, yeah, another flat day. This is just coiling. Um, the interesting thing is, like, when Bitcoin coils like this, it leads to a pretty good move generally. You could be looking at this as a bit of a bull flag too on the daily. Um, you know, there's going to be something like that, which if we do come back down into this sort of level here, the 65 level-ish, um, and we get a bounce up, it'd be really interesting if we get a break of the top of that. Um, Potentially it's less of a flag and more of a wedge. Now that I'm looking at it for a bit longer, it's probably more like that. So expect a breakout the next couple of days. Bitcoin loves to move on the weekend, so we'll see. Last couple haven't been weekends. US weekends, that one. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, this is postured to the downside. I don't like the look of that. If anything, still be on the lookout for quick moves to the downside and then quick pickups of that downside move as well. Even like Sol's sitting there. Everything's waiting. Everything seems to be waiting for a catalyst. There's no huge. Matic actually looks primed for a bit of upside. Yeah, Matic's finding a good base here. 65 cents on Matic seems like a good level. Interesting. Um, just going to have a quick look at Link. See, Link hasn't dropped much either. Market's all over the shop. This is kind of what you get in low liquidity things. If liquidity moves into one or two coins, it can move them completely separately to the rest of the market. Um, anyway, I think I've gone over this a bit enough already. Still seeing a general downtrend on global liquidity as well, so um, that's going to put pressure on the market to be able to go higher. And 2-year, 10 years actually had a little bounce as well. So yeah, that's all I really want to cover today. Sorry it took so long. Again, this is just me thinking through stuff, not financial advice. Um, I don't look at these charts before I come to them, so I'm just basically applying my normal thinking to how I try and find stuff. All right, catch you later.